Today I'm going to be tasting with Ted Henry, Director of Winemaking at Clos Napa.
Today I'm going to be blind tasting with Curtis Mann, and Curtis is a student in the Master Wine program, and nobody that I know tastes more wine from around the world than this guy does.
Ted and I have known each other for a long time. We went to school together and we were in the marching band. He was one of the people that's instrumental in getting me into the wine industry.
He's been traveling all over the world constantly, it seems like, learning about every single wine region, so I'm kind of screwed as far as what I'm gonna look like tasting with this guy, but that's okay. He's a good friend. I've actually known him for more than 20 years, so we go back to the mid-late 90s, and we've tasted a lot of wine together, and it'll be fun to see what happens today.
One of the things I really love about Ted is that he has a great understanding of balance in wine. So even though he makes wine in a region that's known for big, extracted, high-quality Cabernet, he always has a really elegant kind of play on that wine.
So today, I brought two wines for Curtis. Number one is a Northern Rhone white from Crandru, La Dorienne. It's a Viognier wine. It's something, I tried to think of something on a white that was a little bit different. It's not a wine that you have every day. This wine is actually only like 1,500 cases or so of production. So it's a really small production wine, for the world. So it's something that he may not have tasted specifically. But I think he'll know it's Viognier. Viognier has a very distinctive aromatic profile. I'm just thinking because this wine is actually really ripe for new old world standards, he might think it's something that's from California or who knows, but I think it'll be interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how powerful that dried apricot is. It's like a glass full of dried apricots.
So I picked a couple of wines to blind taste with Ted. Now, I had to pick a Burgundy because Ted and I have drank a lot of Burgundy together. And this one is the Bois Bonnefoy. And one of the reasons I picked this wine is because it is a Premier Cru, but from a lesser-known appellation, so Saint-Aubin. And this is kind of one of those cool regions that's getting better and better as the earth warms a little bit. So you're getting these areas that aren't tremendously expensive, but then taste like Premier Cru, high quality Burgundy. So this I think will be a great one. Ted has a very, as I say, his palate he has a very good understanding of balance. And so I think this wine should be quite interesting for him. But it's not a straight up give me like Corton Charlemagne. I don't know if he's going to get to Saint-Aubin, but if he gets to Premier Cru Burgundy, I think that would be great. And I think that he's going to understand it because he makes a lot of Chardonnay in Napa. He's going to hopefully get this as a old world, high quality Chardonnay. Oh, that's going to be good.
On the red, again, I went with kind of a major wine region. This is a Barolo 2013 from Enzo Boglietti, and it's going to be classic style Nebbiolo. So I think, again, he'll know what's going on probably right away. But for me, I have a tough time with Italy, so I thought it would be a little bit more challenging than maybe going for another region, either in California or France. It's really clean. It's just almost like, I would pick it as maybe a different region, light in color. That'll probably give it away a little bit, but it's, for me, it would be a challenge. I think he'll probably get it because of who he is, but I think it'll be fun and see what happens.
And then the second wine that we're going to taste Ted on is going to be a little bit harder for him to get. I think, he definitely has probably a concept of Rioja, but this one is a little bit of a unique wine. We get a very small allocation at this at Rayleigh's, and I was able to kind of grab one, buy it before it all sold out. And it's the Muga Prado Enea Rioja Gran Reserva, 2009 vintage. And one of the great things about this wine is that Muga is one of the classic families of Rioja, and they make very complex, interesting, dense Tempranillo. And they have a very interesting oak regimen because they have their own facility, cooperage on site. So one of the few wineries in the world that can say that. And this wine has a couple of different oak treatments. So it starts out in fermented in oak vats, American oak vats, and then it's aged in American oak for 12 months, and then it's aged again 36 months in French oak. So I picked this wine because Ted's a winemaker. This is a style of wine that there's a lot of oak treatment on it, so hopefully he gets all that different oak treatments. I'm not sure he's gonna go to Rioja, because I could see this being easily mistaken as maybe an Italian wine with a lot of density and complexity, but I just thought it'd be fun because there is definitely a winemaker's hand on here. Wow, it's really pretty.
Curtis.
Hey, Ted. How's it going?
What's going on?
Good. Good to see you, too. All right. First victim.
Fantastic. What's this?
Well, we got some wines for you to taste.
Okay.
So I start with the white if you want.
I think I will. I'll be traditional. Sometimes I like to do a palate cleanser white at the end, but
There you go.
not today, not today. Well, it's pretty dark hue, kind of medium dark, but it's a little bit looking like it's seen a barrel maybe, but we'll see.
There you go, using your winemaker knowledge.
My winemaker knowledge. It looks like kind of higher alcohol, viscosity. You didn't give me something on the low alcohol spectrum, I would say.
I did not.
That stuff is sticking on there. It's like glue on the side of the glass. Oh, man. Interesting. Okay.
So what are you getting?
Little flinty, little reduction, little matchsticky.
Yeah.
I think well, let me taste it first. It's good acidity. It's fresh. It's not that heavy. It's funny, from looking at the, the legs go on there, it looks like it would be heavier on the palate, kind of awkward, but it's not.
Yeah, the legs and the color a lot of times, I think, can mislead you in a direction that's
totally.
maybe not the, the easiest.
It's really fresh. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, the acidity is the lingering kind of bracing acidity almost, which is not something I would have thought initially.
What type of oak are you seeing on there?
Not American, but which is a good choice. I think it's oak, like spices, baking spices, kind of. I think it's definitely seen some time in oak. I don't think it's. I wouldn't pick it up as like a higher percentage than 50% or so. But I'd say it's got oak. I mean, everything as far as the neutrality of it, it's not coming off as aromatic as far as something key, Riesling or Sauv Blanc would. I think it's definitely in the Chardonnay camp. I think Chardonnay. If I say that, I'm probably gonna be wrong, but I think it's Chardonnay. Was it a reaction?
I'm not allowed to react, but
No, sure.
But I think you can trust yourself.
Yeah, I think
Keep trusting yourself.
a nice Chard. So it's kind of like, where would that come from? Because I'm thinking non-California. Doesn't mean it's not New World, but I just don't see. I mean, I wish I could make a wine like that had that lightness on the palate, great acidity, also the body, the depth, the length of finish. It's hard to do with our climate in California. Maybe in some areas. It could be, but I think my guess would be it's not. Originally, I was thinking if it was New World, it'd be something like a Margaret River, Australia. It's, to me, a little heavier. I mean, it has that matchstick thing. I've got that reduction in those wines, and they tend to be really well made and, similar sort of characters, but I feel like those don't have the amount of weight this does across the whole wine. So I think it's going to be France, and it's going to be, God, man, tough one.
What do you think the quality of this wine is?
I think it's good. I didn't think you brought the Planck crap wine. It's got to be. If I did, I think this
you know me too well.
I know, yeah. I think this would be a retail $80, $90, $100 bottle of wine. Would be my guess. Probably Côte de Beaune. Recent vintage, by the way. I don't think. I mean, it could just be aging really well, but I think it's probably just within 1 to 3 years. And from the oak component, I think it's really well balanced. I think we'd do the Côte de Beaune and probably end up Chassagne Marché, maybe Marceau. Damn, why is this so hard?
Because it's blind tasting.
I know.
There's so many variables. What do you if you had to guess, where are you gonna stick your flag?
I think it's like a Premier Cru Chassagne Marché. I think that Marceau has a little bit different, more specific sort of fruit component I'm not seeing. So I'm going with it.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. All right, let's do the red then.
Okay. Okay. Looks kind of youthful as far as the rim there. Pretty clear, not seeing any coloration. Sort of medium body, I would say. It's not quite. I mean, it's actually getting there. It's showing some coating, some viscosity. That's pretty. Wow. It's funny, just looking at it, I wasn't sure what it was going to smell like.
Like I said, sometimes when you look at the wine, it's tough to go. Yeah.
I mean, this is just right off the bat. It's rustic. It's beautiful rustic. It's well made. It's very clean. There's no off characters, but it's got that definite screams like old world, even like old cask, been used for generations and generations kind of deal. It's pretty. Try this. It's peppery. Black pepper. It's not that acidic. I would say it's the acid level and the tannin. I mean, medium acid, but the tannin's kind of faded away. It's in the background. But again, I don't think it's from age. Nice peppery finish. Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm all over Old World somewhere, Europe. Just trying to think of what this could be, and I'm trying to rule out Syrah here. Because it's got that pepper. I'm getting this peppery note that I'm thinking Syrah, but it doesn't match the rest of the wine. The fruit character's not there for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there is a peppery note to it, but it's kind of lacking that aromatic situation. This is not an easy wine.
Good.
So if you're all over the place, I get it.
I am all over the place.
But I think if you focus a little on the winemaking, we may be able to get closer to it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the cleanliness is interesting. Like there's no sign of Brettanomyces or anything funky. It's definitely clean. Barrel-wise, I mean, there could be some new oak in there. Yeah, kind of mixing it up between that kind of old style cask and maybe a little bit of newer wood, but I don't know. I don't think it's Spain. A little gritty to it. I think it may be more, totally wrong, obviously, but I'm thinking more Italy.
Okay.
Just because the rusticness, the freshness, thinking more Sangiovese. Really drinkable, nice wine. I think this one maybe isn't in that price category. I mean, maybe this is something a little bit more approachable price point-wise. But like, I don't know, classic Sangiovese, Chianti Classico.
Chianti Classico. Okay, final
That's where I'm
call.
going.
Final call. All
Final
right.
call.
Okay.
And again, I think this is maybe 5-year max, 3 to 5 year.
All right.
Let's play it.
Okay.
Yeah? Do we get to
Time for the
do we
big
get to see?
reveal.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I'd have to say that you did
Terribly.
quite well
Yeah, right.
on the first one.
On the first one, okay.
So, Saint-Aubin,
Ah,
recent
yes.
vintage,
Okay.
2017.
A little obscure on the appellation there. Well done.
Well, it was done
no, it's
just
super
a little
obscure.
bit because, this wine does sell for $60, but it's Premier
Okay.
Cru.
Yeah.
If I was going to get you Premier Cru Chardonnay
It would
Montrachet,
cost
I would have
$50
had to go
bucks.
a little more expensive. Not that I wouldn't do that for you,
No, thank you.
but really good call because this region, I think, as the world is getting warmer, it's starting to taste more and
becoming more like
yeah, I mean,
lower sentiment.
I don't think anyone's expecting you to call the difference between Saint-Aubin
Right.
and
It's tough
Chardonnay
one.
Montrachet, but I thought it was good that you called Premier Cru, really good quality.
Cool.
Okay, second wine was a lot tougher, admittedly. So, and it's actually
can't
a
even
very
imagine.
common direction that people go on that
Yeah?
wine. So you did a good job tasting it.
Okay.
And I like to call that mid acidity. And so this was the Pradonnet Grand Reserva Muga.
After I said definitely not Spain. Did I say definitely not Spain?
You said definitely not Spain.
Yeah,
I wasn't
good job.
supposed to lead you too much, but
No. Okay.
that was. I think that's the difference that I get between Spain and Italy is that Italy tends to have more punchy acidity. And so I loved your descriptor of this wine was perfect, like a moderate acidity, a pepperiness, and you almost went to Syrah, which I think was like a really good combination
Right.
on that. But Chianti-
Tempranillo?
And this is Tempranillo and Mossuello and Graciano in there.
Some other stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a blend. It's vineyard designate specific
Yeah.
blend, or vineyards, should I say?
Yep.
And it's highly allocated wine. So this one's a little more expensive. This
Really?
one's $80.
Wow.
And 2009
That's high
vintage.
end for a Rioja.
Yeah. So one of the things I think threw you off a little bit is that
And
the
10 years old, that's surprising. Wouldn't have thought that.
Exactly. Well, some of that wine ages forever. So yeah, I think it's not a bad call by any means to go to Chianti.
Interesting. No, that was cool. That's an interesting wine. Yeah. I was thinking of like kind of the characters I get out of Tempranillo, and I just wasn't thinking. I think the pepperiness maybe was, I don't know. That's great. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for sharing. That's great wine.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for tasting. All right.
You're up.
Next victim.
Let's see what you got.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going right for the red. That would have been cool.
Oh man, Ted, it's not New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
Could be. I wouldn't rule it out.
Wow. Okay. Well, we know that we've got some work here to do. I know, I got to write out my little grid here, otherwise I could miss out on something important.
Impressive.
Yeah.
CFA FOS.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't try to understand
Okay.
what it means.
Carry on.
All right. Wow, this is an aromatic varietal. It's got a little like that peach blossom, a lot of honey.
Was it what you were expecting when you stuck your nose in there?
No, it wasn't.
It's a little different now.
Yeah, it's quite different. It's got like this really, aromatic characteristic, it's not a common, I should say, it's not that it's not like the most common grape varietals.
Right.
It's, I get this like, you know, really bright aromatic character out of it, but it's uniquely aromatic. You know, sometimes these wines can definitely help from being warmed up with your hands. You know, my arch nemesis is cold wine.
Coldness.
Coldness.
I spared you from putting it in the fridge at least.
Okay, well, thanks.
You're welcome.
But it's, yeah, I mean, it's got like a moderate amount of acidity, but it also has a good amount of alcohol, which actually is not really, that's not exclusive to each other, but and it's pretty broad. But, you know, the interesting thing about it that's making it really hard to place is that, well, it's broad, it's not super weighty. And so it's like one of these wines that I haven't tasted a lot of, but it has its own uniqueness to it.
But wait, you mean alcohol or just like
There's a-
mouthfeel palate?
There's an alcohol weightness, but there's an acidity that's kind of like, you know, it's not a big acidity like this wine isn't, you know, bitingly acidic.
Right.
The other thing about it is that there is a tremendous amount of fruit extract on the nose without all that weight to it, which makes it a really complex and interesting wine. And usually, I mean, that finish is super long. I mean, one of the hard things about tasting with you is that the whole world of wine is there. Like that one time that you tasted that Drouhin Montrachet with me, and I was like, I thought we were blind tasting about it. So it's like, where do I go with this?
Could
This
be
is
anything. Could be anything. Yeah.
But if I'm thinking of all the different kind of aromatics, the honey, the hazelnut, the peach, all that stuff, I would go with like an aromatic white, like a Viognier or a Gewürztraminer, or maybe like a really incredible Pinot Gris. I mean,
Did you get any age on it, by the way?
Yeah, it could be some age to it. I mean, I guess you could go to aged Riesling, but I'm missing the acidity. And usually with aged Riesling, I get like a baked apple kind of character to the wine. And you typically wouldn't get this much alcohol. Like this wine has, you know, tastes like it has 14% alcohol. I mean, really getting that burn.
Does it taste hot? You're getting...
I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just, that's
No,
what the
I'm just
density
curious
of
if
the
it's just
wine.
like visually or you're actually tasting.
Yeah.
It's funny because to me, sometimes I get wines that are really high in alcohol, but they don't taste hot. And some that are 13.5 and they taste hot.
Well, I mean, it doesn't, to me, it's not like it's not overtly alcoholic. And it's not a bad thing. It's just the way that kind of comes across.
No, I think it's a good observation.
So, and there's some tactile oak character almost. Well, it's extremely hard to place. This was a good, difficult wine, and so I'm probably gonna be way off, but. Because, I mean, I don't think it's a classic varietal. So.
Do you typically hone in on the grape first or the region? Or both? Or...
Well, sometimes it's a grape. I mean, it could be if this is a blend of different grapes, then that would be a big mistake. Right? I should have gone to the varietal first.
Fair point.
Or not gone to the varietal. So if I had to kind of like run all this through, it's aromatic, but it's not so overt. It's the fruit ripeness. There's a density of fruit ripeness, but it's not so overtly fruit ripe. I would say that, you know, it's an old world white with an aromatic characteristic. And, you know, my best guess would be because of all that kind of like honey, peach, and all that aromatic characteristic, that would be like a, you know, Viognier from Northern Rhone, like a Condrieu or something along those lines. So I guess
Is that an answer, or you're still talking?
That is the answer. It is probably incredibly wrong, but I'm gonna go with that.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, flip it over. I'm gonna go again, next wine.
All right.
This one's got a little bit of a, monster tannins. Woo. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, blocky, chalky tannins. Sometimes I find it's easier with reds just to start with a palette, so you can just ignore everything else. Not to ignore it, but sorry, but just like move to it. So, I don't know. Let's see. So, long, chalky finish, kind of chalky, blocky tannins. I get like, there's really no discernible oak to it. The alcohol is really, really well integrated into the wine. Like, this is one of those, it's really hard to tell it. It even, I mean, the alcohol doesn't even stick out at all. It's really beautiful. I say 13%. Combination of acidity and tannins, to me, just says Italy. Like, I suppose there's people making these types of wines other places in the world, but in my mind, that combination of chalky, blocky tannins and acidity just says Italy. And now is to figure out, okay, where in Italy are we?
So you've ruled out Napa Cabernet.
I did rule out Napa Cabernet.
I'm picking up on that.
Thanks. Okay, good. I'm glad that's the right one. So I'm glad it's not Napa Cabernet. Yeah, this is really, it's super aromatic. So one of the things that, if I had to like think through all of this different wines this could be Chianti Classico, this could be Brunello di Montalcino, this could be Vino Noble, or it could be Barolo or Barbaresco. But it's very aromatic. And it's got a lot of the flowers and the dried cherries and that like...
Can you tell from color specifically in those Italian wine regions?
You can, but you have to be careful because sometimes Brunello will show a bricking characteristic to it. And a lot of these wines need, 15 years before they're drinkable.
Right.
Yeah, so they're, that's definitely a challenge because, yeah, I mean, you can use the color, and there is a bricking rim on this, so, Barolo might, a Nebbiolo-based wine might make sense, but if you use it's like another piece of information, right?
Right.
But I would say with all the flavor and the dried fruits and the aromatics to this wine, I've definitely made the mistake before calling old Brunello Barolo, but I think this one's a pretty straightforward call. It's Barolo. As far as age goes, wine is really good. It's not showing a lot of tertiary characters. I mean, that dried fruit's there, but it's not like the secondary kind of, meaty or, some leathery characters, really none of it there. And, Brunello hides that so well because the acidity's so high, Barolo hides that so well, but I would say that this is like from a really good vintage because the wine has got this just beautiful density to it, like a 2007. Because it's got just enough on it, a lot of aromatic complexity, but it's still pretty young. So I would say that we're getting a little bit of age on it. I mean, that's a little bit, I guess, for Barolo, right?
Yeah, it's just getting ready to think about opening it up.
So that's what I'm gonna call it.
So you're going 07?
Barolo, a really good producer.
Okay.
Maybe, a site-specific wine. That is just,
Interesting. Interesting indeed. Well, do you want to know what?
I would like to know what they are, because I would like to know if I'm,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, would you be surprised if you didn't get either one right?
I would be surprised if I got them right.
Well, you got both of them right.
Okay.
So this is a 2015 Gigal Quandru from La Dorienne, which is their reserve bottling of Quandru. So this one, I kind of picked it because it was very ripe. You picked up on that, obviously. I thought you would nail it right away as BMJ, but it had enough mystery to it that you were kind of going with other varietals. I thought you might think there could be some New World thing too. Maybe some Central Coast producer or something. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough wine in the sense that it has that ripeness, but also the quality level is amazing on that wine. That wine is outstanding. I mean, a lot of times Viognier can be hard to tell.
You know what's interesting going back to this? This is 100% New French oak.
Really?
Yeah.
What do we say? I mean, I
Isn't that
picked up
bizarre?
some French
You
oak,
said
but
like hint of oak or whatever, but I mean,
yeah.
I would have said the same thing, and it's just interesting that it's like sometimes like a Sauterne or something, like some wines that just can handle gobs of oak. It's pretty impressive.
Well, that is one of the
it's a new
best Condrus I've ever tasted. Because honestly, one of the reasons I'm always having a hard time with Condru, not that it's bad wine, but
there's
a
a
lot of
lot of-
times it's just,
no.
yeah, it's hard to, and I think it's just really hard to make, right?
Yeah,
it's
and,
just
and domestic Viogniers that, as a winemaker, a nightmare to deal with. This doesn't have any of that bitterness that you can get, this phenolic funkiness. Yeah, really neat bottle of wine. It's only like 1,600 cases they make of this. It's actually small for what it is. All right.
All right, well, that was a fun wine.
That was easy. And then, yes, I feel like I was too easy on you. So this is a Enzo Boglietti Barolo. And what's cool about that is you were a little off on the vintage. This is a 13.
13, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's actually somewhat, aging, well, drinkability-wise. But what was cool about this is you called out that it was a single site. So it's an Arione vineyard.
Sure.
Which is right there. Which is, this was actually purchased by, was it Conterno? After this bottling was made. So those wines all sell for $500-600. So this wine is made by small, Enzo was actually, his brother was out here and visited Clos du Val. So this actually came from Italy. It doesn't have any of those cool
Wow, yeah,
import
right now you
stickers.
pulled it out. That was a shiner.
Yeah.
Well, it was a really pretty wine. Like, Barolo, I think can be one of the
to
most
me, it was
complex wines
very
out.
clean, like almost too clean. And so I'm not sure if you were gonna, but of course you did. You nailed it, both of them. So
I think
tremendous job.
Oh, well, thank you.
As I was expecting.
I'm glad you were a little nicer to me than I thought you were going to be.
Oh yeah, no. Next time it's gonna get ugly though. We're definitely gonna go, all kinds of weird varieties, Antarctic wine or something.
There you go.
Anyway, that was awesome. Thank you again.
Great.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks
Thanks,
for
Ted.
doing it. It was fun.
That was a lot of
Good
fun.
time. Cheers.